Hey guys, this is Lisa from NYC Gal Out. Welcome back to my channel, NYC Gal Pod. So I've been a little MIA because I just got a skin peel done on Monday. So I didn't want to do a video and scare everybody with like sheets of skin hanging off my face, which also explains why my face is looking a little white. Anyway, let's get to the season premiere of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 15. Garcelle is out. Bose is back, and we have a newbie, Rachel, and we have another newbie, which we haven't met yet. So, since she hasn't appeared on our television screen yet, we're not going to talk about her. But I bring this up because I do remember the season that Anne-Marie was on. Anne-Marie did not show up until the last 10 minutes of Kyle's weed party. I think it was like in episode 5 or 6. She like appeared in the middle of the season, and I felt like, well, why would she appear in the middle of the season like that? And is this newbie, is she going to appear in the middle of the season for season 15? We shall see. Anyway, so the beginning of this premiere episode was a little weird. I don't know if like Erica was doing some sort of commercial for Porsche, or if she was doing some sort of commercial for a car wash, a luxury car wash or something, but it was a little bit like too much. Bose and Dorit, they meet up. I love that Bose calls Dorit to her daughter, Auntie Dorit. I love that. I feel like minority groups, there are more similarities than there are differences. Like Asian and African cultures are very similar. They're talking about Dorit's divorce. And what Dorit said is probably something that would resonate with a lot of women who have been through divorce, or even if not a divorce, who have been through a custody battle. And what Dorit says is that, well, of course, PK wanted 50% joint custody. What she's alluding to is because he wants to not pay child support, or that he wants to minimize what his child support payment is. What she said, and again, I think this would resonate with a lot of women, is that she says PK doesn't have the lifestyle where he would be able to have the kids for 50% of the time. So they're talking about that. They're talking about Kyle and where she is with Kyle. And Tariq feels like, they're still cordial, but they're not, back to where they were or where she thought that they were. Erica and Bose, they go out for lunch. I guess Erica has like a new man, and she was asked about the new man. I don't know if she was like dating multiple men and then she landed on this one guy who used to be like an ex Navy SEAL Special Force guy and whatever else. Hey, I'm all for it. I'm married to an infantry guy, so I'm totally all for it. I mean, you see that Ranger plaque in the back? The conversation was a little weird because I don't know if like how she was talking. I don't know if it was like separate men or if she was just talking about like one guy, but she didn't really go further with it. And then her and Bose talk about Sutton a little bit and what's going on with Sutton. I never really saw that relationship between Garcelle and Sutton. I always felt like Sutton was using Garcelle as an alliance. I felt like a lot of fans and audience of the show, they excuse a lot of Sutton's behavior for the fact that Garcelle has Sutton's back. Because the wild thing to me, and why I say this, was because Garcelle, when she bounced and everything, that's when you saw a lot of the Garcelle fans and the former Sutton friends, you saw them turning on her. And I felt like, okay, so all this time, you were basically excusing her bad behavior, her problematic behavior because of Garcelle. Because I said that I felt like Dorit and Sutton are held to different standards. Yes, Dorit puts her foot in her mouth a lot, but so does Sutton. And people didn't have that same energy for Sutton. And I felt a lot of it had to do with Garcelle. And I also felt like the Garcelle fans, they didn't like it when Dorit basically had her own black friend, if you know what I mean. I said it. I do think that Dorit and Bose's friendship is a little bit more genuine than what Sutton and Garcelle's friendship was. Also, I just jive with Bose's character because Bose is from New York. Like, she was raised in New York City. She spent a good amount of time in New York City before she moved out to the West Coast. You could hear it in her accent. You could hear it in like the way she talks and everything. So they're talking a little bit about Sutton. What I like that Bose says and why I think she's such a great addition is Bose was like, well, she doesn't have the backing of Garcelle anymore. So I think she's going to treat the other ladies a little bit different. She's going to try to be a little bit different towards the other lady because, she's kind of limited on her friends right now. And she doesn't have Garcelle there anymore. Erica looks gorgeous. She looks like a real life Barbie doll. If there was ever anyone out there who wanted to look like a Barbie doll, whoever Erica's surgeon is, she looks like a Barbie doll. I mean, even I've seen pictures of Erica before any of her surgery, and she was attractive even before. And as a matter of fact, if you look at Erica's younger pictures before she got surgery, she could actually be a double for Alicia Silverstone. You remember the girl from Clueless? No, it's not necessarily that just because you have the money for plastic surgery that it's going to be good or that you're going to look good. And she looks great. She legit looks like a Barbie doll. So we get our first scene with Rachel when she goes over to Kathy Hilton's house, and we get a little bit of a bio intro from Rachel. But like legit though, Rachel has already been a part of the Bravo family years ago. She had her own show. She's a stylist. She's worked with a lot of A-list celebrities and stuff like that. And like, if you are a like super fan of Bravo, then you already know who Rachel is. You probably already seen her show. If not, it was like around the same time that Jeff Lewis and who's the other one? Patty Singer, when she had her show on Bravo. So it was like all around that same time. Kyle, she's getting ready to plan her daughter's wedding. I love it that her daughter's husband is like, they met in 3rd grade or some shit. I love that for the two of them. I already did a video clip of it, I think in like either the summer or the spring. It was a beautiful wedding. She had a Jewish wedding and everything, so it was very lovely. And she looked beautiful. And then Kyle decides to have like a summer solace party. And I love in her confessional, she was like, we can't just have gatherings anymore. Now we need to have activities. I love all of their outfits except for Erica looked like she legit came in her pajamas. I don't care if that is the style. I don't care if that is what's trendy. No, who the fuck decided this? Because that looks like legit pajamas to me. It looked like she went outside in her pajamas. I love Sutton's summer dress. She had a beautiful floral sundress on, but the one that I loved the most was Kyle. Kyle's floral sundress was gorgeous. I'm gonna have to like hop onto ChatGPT and have my chat find out who the designer is or if there's like a knockoff version of it, because it's like that dress is so gorgeous and it looks like something that I would wear. I know you guys see me in my t-shirts when I'm doing my recap, but like legit, I actually wear dresses and I actually, am presentable. But, when I'm doing my recap, I'm usually doing it in my pajamas. Anyway, they're talking a little bit about Garcelle. They're trying to figure out especially what happened between Garcelle and Sutton. But actually, let's rewind a little bit because Sutton, she had a scene too. Sutton's son is 18 years old, graduated from high school. I think that she was having a luncheon get-together at her home for her son's graduation. It looked like it was a celebratory dinner, except her son was nowhere to be seen. Okay. Anyway, Mama Reba came up from Georgia to LA and there she is. And it's because Avi is not around to film with her. Now, I was going to say if you guys watch my recaps, but like legit, I have to like upload my old videos. I'm in the middle of it. Right now, I'm doing like my old uploads of New Jersey. I'm getting to it. But anyway, you watch my old recaps. I said that like, I don't feel like Sutton treats Avi really good. Avi's title is supposed to be manager, like house manager, right? But I was like, she treats him like a personal assistant. And in one of my recaps, I even said, I think the only reason why she gave Avi the title of house manager was because she didn't want to give him the title of personal assistant, but that was basically what Avi was to her, a personal assistant, and she treated him like a personal assistant. Not only did she treat him like a personal assistant, but there were times that she treated him like he was a butler. There were times that she treated him like a cook, like a cleaner. Like, I think she saw Kathy Hilton with a butler and she wanted to do that. She wanted to have that for herself. Anyway, she doesn't go into what the falling out was, but she basically said that there was like a lack of communication or some shit like that. That's what she's saying. But of course, Sutton, she's a difficult person to be around. And like I said, look at how she treats Avi. They actually do a flashback of how she treats Avi. But what I found interesting was the fact that now that, her and Avi aren't working together anymore or whatever, she actually refers to him as a personal assistant. She doesn't really explain to the ladies what the falling out was. She just says that there was like communication problems. And you know what? He was probably sick of her shit. He probably felt like, I'm not getting paid enough to be your butler, your cleaner, your cook, your usher, your driver, your stylist, your freaking receptionist, your freaking doorman, and your house manager, and your sidekick to film with, because nobody else wants to film with you, especially now that Garcelle kicked her ass to the curb. I felt like in a lot of ways, Sutton and Avi's relationship is like that girl, Lexi. A lot of people call her Big Bird because she's just like really tall and awkward looking. But Margaret Joseph's assistant, Lexi, who lives in her garage, I felt like that is more or less like the dynamic that Sutton had with Avi. And now she's got her mother all the way up from Georgia to film. Anyway, Sutton says that her ex, Christian, basically gave her annulment papers, which means that Christian is Catholic. They had a Catholic wedding. If you did not have a Catholic church wedding, you would not need an annulment anyway. If he's asking for an annulment, it means that they did have a Catholic wedding, and Christian is Catholic, which is really surprising because down south, you don't see a lot of Catholics. It's like the Bible Belt. They're like freaking Baptists down here or some shit. But anyway, she says that she got this paper that it was addressed to her from like the Vatican, and basically it was addressed to Sutton Brown, which is her maiden name. Kyle says, I never used my married name. I always use my maiden name. Sutton doesn't seem like she wants to give up Strack. I feel like I would rather be Sutton Brown than Sutton Strack. Let's go hop back to Kyle's Summer Solace event. They're talking about Garcelle, what happened, what was like, the dynamic, and Sutton's like, I don't know what happened, and all this other stuff. And Bo says, think that she felt like you didn't have her back. And Derek says, do you think it was more of an alliance? And Sutton's like, well, no, I don't want to think that, because I felt like it was a genuine friendship or some shit like that. And Bose, he felt like you hung her out to dry. Bose is like the only one that acknowledged that. Like, yes, Sutton, Garcelle was supposed to be your bestie, and you absolutely hung her out to dry. And you are very self-centered in that way. And I think she doesn't realize this. And I do think that she tries to buy people's relationship. So at the reunion last season, she started off the reunion by gifting Garcelle something. Sutton says that she doesn't know what it is because, she texts Garcelle and Garcelle did not reply. So she doesn't know what it is. That like her and the others in the group, they could speculate, but they won't know what it is because Garcelle hasn't said. So Rachel, she's going through a divorce with her ex-husband. So her and Dorit, they have that in common, I guess. And then Dorit and Kyle, they talk a little bit about, Mo and PK. And Dorit says, I think that PK probably saw that Mo was out and about, and he was like, oh, let me try to do that shit too. It was nice to see Kyle and Dorit be able to like bond a little bit over that. Though I think that with Mauricio and Kyle, their separation is so healthy. I don't know how long that'll last or not, but usually people that have that sort of separation or divorce, they're not as friendly with each other. Usually there's resentment and animosity, and it doesn't seem like there's any of that between the two of them. It seems very much like, they still love each other. Not in love with each other, but they still very much love each other. They're still supportive of each other, genuine friends with each other. So that is nice. I also think it helps that their children are grown. The youngest, Portia, is 18 years old. So, you take away the having to battle out custody, having to do child support and all this other stuff. So I think that also helps a lot. When they were talking about Sophia's wedding, Kyle says to her, "Can I bring a date?" And Sophia's like, "No, but dad can't bring a date either." And Kyle was basically like, "Well, does dad know about that? What if he just like ends up bringing a date to the wedding?" And Sophia's like, "Oh no, none of that crap is happening." So at the Solace event, Rachel tells Kyle that she needs to get out, she needs to start dating and all this other stuff. And Dorit, she wants to kind of like jump into the dating scene because PK's out there living his best life being a free man. And, she wants to do that too. So Rachel's like, let's have a hot girl summer. This is going to be our hot girl summer. And Kyle's like, I don't even know what that means. And Erica's like, the only hot girl summer I want is to be in bed with a man. Anyway, Neely, Bose's man, he was the only one that showed up to Kyle's event. I don't know if she like invited like partners or stuff, but then it kind of makes sense. Erica, she wasn't dating. Kyle and Mo are separated. Dorit and PK are going through a divorce. Rachel and her ex-husband are going through a divorce. Sutton, her ex-husband wants a damn annulment so he could get his damn name back. So I guess it kind of made sense that Neely was the only man that was there. Why would you go to this event? Even if he was invited, he should have just been like, if I'm going to be the only guy there, I think I'll just sit this one out. But he showed up, which was like a little weird. Oh, and Rachel and Bose, they are very friendly with each other. Bose says that, she went on to her podcast last year, and ever since then, they formed like a really close bond with each other. So that's great. Bose says that, she felt like Kyle was a little bit cold to her. So she'll see how she jives with Kyle this season, whether they could be a genuine friend or not. And if not, she'll be an acquaintance. I love that Bose is like so articulate. She's like so well spoken. I just love that about her. Anyway, that was the episode. What did you guys think of the season premiere? Let me know. And guys, don't forget to hit the like, follow, subscribe, leave me a comment and all that good jazz. I'll see you guys later. Bye.